What is she, hiding her face like her ICE agents now? She can't show her face either? By the way, is this what the $800 billion went to? Every day we see her after there's some new tragedy in Homeland, she's wearing a different outfit with a different hat. I mean, come on, guys, she looks ridiculous. She's not just an embarrassment to the country. She's an embarrassment to you and the president. Okay, she deserves to be removed from her job by the president.
This may look like another heated exchange in a divided Congress, but it's actually a stress test for constitutional accountability. What's really being tested here is whether executive power still answers to legislative oversight, or whether public offices can operate without scrutiny. This raises broader questions about how authority is exercised when transparency becomes optional. In this video, we'll break down how a single confrontation reveals a much larger struggle over checks, balances, and democratic responsibility.
Recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to go back to a previous statement by one of our colleagues, Governor Biggs. He said that Democrats have not tried to de-escalate the situation. You know, after the brutal murder of Charlie Kirk, which was domestic terrorism, okay, we tried to de-escalate. After the assassination attempt against the president, which was domestic terrorism, I was appointed to the task force to investigate that assassination attempt. We tried to de-escalate. After the anti-Semitic attack in Colorado, in which you put forward a resolution that included language about ICE's favorable role in that. 75 Democrats voted for that resolution, even though there was no reason to put that in there, but you did it to try to put us on the board. So this idea that that Democrats have said nothing, that we haven't tried to de-escalate, it's just not true. It's just not true. Now, it's not like you guys have any credibility on de-escalation. I mean, literally, we're not the ones who told tens of thousands of people to show up to the Capitol and run in here like a mob. And now you all tell people it never happened. You know, like, oh, that's not what the deal was. It's not like every day there isn't some sort of tweet that just escalates and escalates and escalates. And so, listen, I hope one day we could have a hearing on de-escalation. I would love to participate in a hearing on how we together de-escalate. But looking at one party and saying, you don't de-escalate, I mean, that's literally this dialogue on how we do bring down the temperature together. You know, I want to, you know, we heard about this domestic terrorism thing, right? Domestic terrorism. That was the first thing we heard. I have a question. This is the person who, within minutes of the shooting, went on TV and called it domestic terrorism. What is she, hiding her face like her ICE agents now? She can't show her face either? By the way, is this what the $800 billion went to? Every day we see her after there's some new tragedy in Homeland, she's wearing a different outfit with a different hat. I mean, come on, guys, she looks ridiculous. She's not just an embarrassment to the country. She's an embarrassment to you and the president. Okay, she deserves to be removed from her job by the president, and if not impeached, not just for her complete failures in Homeland, but her destruction of FEMA. She's not even running the department. You guys know this. You guys know she's not running Homeland. Your governors and you all, when you need your FEMA money, you don't call Noem, you call Corey. You know she's not running the place. She's a complete and utter embarrassment. By the way, every Homeland Secretary has come in front of this committee once a Congress. I'd like to know the date she's coming. When is she coming?
When is she coming? When is she coming?
When is she coming? By the way, do you know Pam Bondi has not come in front of this committee? Do you know she's the only secretary to not appear in front of a committee yet? When is she coming? What's the date on the calendar that she's coming? You know what? Let's make it easy. I want to make a motion to subpoena Pam Bondi.
Second.
To this committee.
Third, fourth, fifth.
How much are we going to...
The gentleman is not recognized for that motion. However, the chair will advise as to the Attorney General coming for, as they do routinely.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. But where is the Attorney General, the only secretary to not appear, okay, in front of a committee? The only one. We're into year 2 of this Congress, and we've not had the Attorney General in front of this committee. How much are we going to weaken Article 1 of the Constitution while you guys remain in power. I watch you twist yourself into pretzels trying to defend this, running away from previous statements, disagreeing with yourself, trying to defend the crap that's happening. And so I'll make a motion again to subpoena Pam Bondi in front of this committee.
Second.
Yes, third, fourth, fifth.
The chair will again.
What we just witnessed inside that committee room was not a routine exchange of partisan talking points. It was a rupture, a moment where the polished language of Washington fell away and raw frustration took its place. Congressman Jared Moskowitz did not speak cautiously. He spoke with urgency, with anger, with the weight of accumulated silence behind him. When he challenged his colleagues on the claim that Democrats had failed to lower tensions, he wasn't just rebutting an argument, he was exposing a pattern of selective memory, of convenient outrage, of accountability applied only when it serves power. This moment matters because it reveals something deeper than a single confrontation. It reveals how Washington talks about responsibility while avoiding it. How leaders invoke de-escalation as a shield, not a principle. Moskowitz pointed to moments when cooperation did occur, when bipartisan votes were cast, when restraint was shown, and then asked the most uncomfortable question of all. Why is that never enough? Why is one side endlessly asked to prove calm while the other is allowed to provoke, deny, and rewrite history without consequence? The tension in the room sharpened when the conversation shifted from rhetoric to leadership. When Moskowitz questioned how swiftly public labels were applied after a tragic event, he wasn't just criticizing timing, he was questioning judgment. He was asking whether officials charged with national responsibility are acting with care or with cameras in mind. His remarks about appearances, about symbolism, about public performance were not about clothing or optics. They were about substance, about whether the people entrusted with immense authority are governing or merely staging reassurance. And then came the most telling revelation of all. Not shouted, but repeated until it could no longer be ignored. The absence. The missing accountability. The simple fact that key officials have not appeared before Congress to answer questions. Moskowitz's repeated demand, "When is she coming?" echoed like a drumbeat. Not because the answer was unknown, but because it was avoided. Oversight, after all, is not a courtesy. It is not optional. It is the backbone of Article 1. And when oversight is delayed, deflected, or denied, power quietly shifts away from the people's representatives. What this exchange exposes is not just partisan hypocrisy, it exposes a deeper erosion of constitutional balance. Congress cannot function if its authority is treated as an inconvenience. If executive officials can operate without appearing before committees, without defending decisions, without scrutiny, then the system itself begins to tilt. Moskowitz made that clear when he warned about the slow weakening of legislative power, not with grand theory, but with plain frustration. Watching colleagues contort themselves, contradict past statements, and defend the indefensible. This was not about one agency, or one official, or one hearing. It was about the culture of accountability in Washington, about whether transparency still matters, about whether leadership means showing up when questioned, or disappearing behind talking points and procedural excuses. The moment the chair refused to recognize the motion, the message became unmistakable. The system protects itself first, and that is why moments like this matter, because they cut through the noise. They show viewers what governance looks like when patience runs out, when decorum collides with reality, when someone inside the room says what millions outside it are thinking. This wasn't polished outrage. It was exasperation born from watching the same evasions repeat year after year. In the end, this hearing was not about lowering the temperature through silence. It was about confronting discomfort, about naming failures instead of disguising them, about insisting that authority must answer to the people, not hide from them. Moskowitz's words landed hard because they carried an implicit warning. A democracy cannot survive on selective accountability. If leaders refuse to appear, refuse to answer, refuse to explain, then trust erodes. And once trust is gone, institutions hollow out from the inside. What we saw today was a reminder that the Constitution is not self-enforcing. It depends on those willing to demand answers, even when the room pushes back. This is why independent coverage matters. Why moments like this must be documented, remembered, and understood in full context. Not clipped, not sanitized, not dismissed. Because democracy doesn't fail all at once. It weakens quietly, Hearing by hearing, excuse by excuse. If you believe accountability still matters, support our work to expose the truth. Subscribe to Liberty Report USA.